Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon, and today I'm going to be talking about the best ADC on the patch. Even after the nerfs, I still think Corki is the best ADC, and I wanted to kind of make a video talking really about why and just talking about this champion, going through my thought process of a game with him. So, Corki overall has a lot of really broken parts about him, but I would say the most broken thing is that he has a lot of true damage in his kit. They did nerf his true damage recently, but it's still really, really strong. Gives you a lot of extra damage in general. Very OP. And then the other thing is just the fact that despite scaling so well, his early game is actually really safe, really consistent, and really easy to win, in the early game. So if we're looking at like this game, for example, Lucian Braum is an incredibly strong lane, but with Corki and Nami, I'm actually not really worried about it. In this lane, you kind of have to identify which are your strengths and your weaknesses. And in this case, we definitely lose the all-in. As the Corki Nami, they have better burst damage, and the Braum passive stun can definitely get a lot of value against us. But we have much better poke because we have the Nami sustain, and my champion's burst damage can keep up with Lucian enough that the trades will be close. And then again, we just heal up the kind of, damage that they do, and we overall win that. So Corki is really, really good at laning, really consistent, really good at going even, still having enough burst damage and follow-up that, you can get a lead if you need. And again, scales just insanely well. You're going to see the burst damage as we go throughout the game. But as you can see here, we're kind of building up a slow push. Since our strength is the poke here, we decide to not hard crash the wave and instead punish them when they walk up for less hits by just kind of mostly pushing the wave, not super, super fast, not making sure that we hit it too much, more so hitting it when the minions get lower. And then again, just make them have to walk up. And what this does is it creates a level advantage for us. So you can see, because we have so many more minions than them, we're up a level, which is just meaning that if we ever do trade with the enemy, we're going to be in a very safe spot. Now in this situation, the Vi obviously shows up and ganks us, and then we use a really good cleanse timing to end up getting the first blood onto the Braum. And so we're able to avoid that gank there. Again, that is another actually really good example of why Corki is so good. The second ability is really, really good self-peel early on in the game, and even later in the game, so you have a good mobility spell. Like, that dash leaves a trail of fire for anyone chasing you, and obviously is a decently ranged dash, so it's really easy to escape champions like the Vi ganking me, for example, or anyone jumping on you. So you have that form of self-peel, you have good, strong early game damage, you have consistent poke, and then you have absurd burst damage when you get onto a couple items. Speaking of the items, the general itemization that you're going to go for is going to be Gluttonous Greaves, then you're going to go for Essence Reaver, after Essence Reaver, Magnetic Blaster, and then usually Mortal Reminder third, and then fourth item you're going to go Bloodthirster most games, but you can also go for Infinity Edge if you just need as much damage as possible, maybe because you're behind as a team, and you have to solo carry a fight, so you go for the Infinity Edge, but usually you're going to go for those 4 items I mentioned initially. And then the last item is just going to be a defensive item like Guardian Angel or Mob Malmortius. Sometimes you can go for a Bloodthirster third item instead of fourth item if you need that extra defense, but most of the time you're going to go for Bloodthirster as your fourth and get Mortal as your third. And there we do end up having to use our flash because of Vi's gank, but our jungler ganked us earlier, and again, we're just overall in a pretty good spot. Again, that early game follow-up, really good damage, really good laning, and you're kind of going to see the late game burst damage as we get there. But mainly what you're looking to do as Corki, again, is go even in lane. If you get ahead like I do here, obviously you're happy, but you don't have to. I've shown plenty of videos of me being behind or even as Corki early game and still managing to scale up really nicely. What you really need to understand is farming. If you're able to farm effectively and get as much gold out of the mid game as possible, you're going to be able to carry most games on 3-4 items. Like, once you hit that 3 item threshold, even once you hit 2 items, if you're at a decent pace, you're really, really strong. So that's mostly what I'm looking for here. And now at this point, I'm pushing a bit faster to see if we can just get some poke on the enemy under turret, because we know now that they're level 5, it's going to be pretty hard to really slow push into them. They have their ultimates, they have ways to deal with us. And so again, you can just see that second ability, really easy to dodge any spells and make it hard for the enemy to actually engage on us. They kind of overexert themselves by using the Braum ultimate. And again, we can just be really aggressive, get a lot of poke, and really don't have much to worry about as a whole there. So because of that, again, we're in a good spot early game. At this point, just farming pretty normally, and then once we get to the mid game, that's going to be when we can really accelerate our gold. The first kind of situation you want to accelerate your gold in is going to be by waiting for the enemy to rotate to Herald, and then when they rotate Herald, you're often going to end up just taking a lot of the tower if possible. Otherwise, you can, again, just sit in your lane and farm pretty normally. Here, Vi does show up and gank us, Not ideal, of course. And I panic cleansed. I cleansed too early, and so I do, not really have that big of a lead anymore. I'm only up about 200 gold on the Lucian. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, my cleanse usage there was kind of poor and led to us being in a not as good of a spot. Now that we do see that the enemy rotated, I wanted to cover mid lane, or that our mid laner rotated, I mean. I wanted to cover mid, but our mid laner ended up going back, so I'm like, okay, I'll just go top side instead. But I was looking to see if I can get some extra gold mid lane, because again, you're always trying to create that extra gold for yourself whenever you can. As Corki, as really any ADC, of course, I have plenty of videos about farming, about getting gold on yourself as ADC. And then here, I'm just quickly trying to get my Essence Reaver. Essence Reaver is already an insane power spike. As soon as you hit this item power spike, like, you're going to have really, really good burst damage. Any time anyone fights you, goes on you, like, you will win most of the trades on even items. Which is, again, this is why this champion is so broken. Like, there's no weak point. Your early game laning is good. Your 1 item power spike is insane. Your 2 items power spike is really, really good. And then you go 3-4 items and you're one-shotting everyone. Like, it's actually absurd how broken this champion is. And the nerf obviously made him worse, but he's still, in my opinion, again, the best ADC in the game. Sivir, I would say, is the only argument. I would say if you could say Sivir is better. If you wanted, I don't think so because of the lack of mobility. But you could say that, and I'd be like, yeah, that's reasonable. That's a reasonable thought. Here again, Lucian ult, so we just W away. Very easy. Nothing too complicated. It's also a very easy champion to play, which I probably should have mentioned initially as well. But this champion's one of the easiest ADCs in the game. Lucian, you can see he walks up on us. A couple auto attacks and some abilities, and boom, he's dead. Braum dead right after. Absurd damage. Again, because of the fact that you're using Essence Reaver, make sure you use abilities in between your auto attacks. That's really what you need to understand this champion. Use abilities between auto attacks to take advantage of Essence Reaver, and you're going to be popping off in fights. The amount of burst damage you have when you're doing that is insane. If you don't know, Essence Reaver works like Solari Chargeblade used to, so using abilities and then auto attacking after you use an ability gives you more damage. And that's just generally what you need to keep in mind. And so at that point, we do exactly that when the enemy walk up. You just saw me auto attack, first ability, auto attack, ultimate auto attack, and boom, like, they're dead. Very, very common that you're gonna melt people with just that many auto attacks. And now all we have to do from this point onwards is just farm safely, react when the enemy give us easy opportunities to kill them, and nothing is going to be too complicated from there. And that's the nice part about this champion. So you can see here, I end up going mid instead of going top side because my support wasn't at top side. I knew they're probably going to get the turret, so I'd rather instead get a couple of waves in mid and then go cover the top wave afterwards, as you see me do here. So basically, I'm just creating additional gold for myself. Even if the enemy got that turret, they were going to get the turret soon enough anyway. I didn't have enough protection there to go safely, so I just get that mid wave and then I cover the top wave after. I could have covered I could have gotten another top wave, but because I'm so far ahead and I had my item, I wasn't overly concerned with it. Whereas let's say I was behind or even, I might be more inclined to go for that top lane wave and just get additional gold. But because I am stronger, I'm actually okay with fighting. So you'll see very often I say to my people I'm coaching and whatnot, don't fight when you're behind. But because I'm ahead and there's not that many waves to farm on the map right now, I decided that I'm okay with going to this fight. Now, I do almost get one-shot by Aurora because that champion does an insane amount of burst damage, but I was nearly able to one-shot the Lucian there as well. And so, even though it didn't work out super well, the choice, again, is largely because of the fact that we are pretty strong, so I am more keen on fighting when I can. Whereas, again, when you are behind, you're not as interested in fighting as frequently until you get stronger. So that's the nice part about Corki 2, is the flexibility. You can play that early game style, you can be snowballing the game when something goes well, and you can also just scale up, farm, and carry the noob teams that you often will get in solo queue. And again, I have like a 78% win rate on this champion this season, with like 40 or 50 games at this point, maybe even a little more. And we're like Grandmaster 43 marks with a 75.7% win rate at the time that I'm recording this video on ADC. My ADC games are just like, I'm just winning and winning, and it's with Corki and it's with Xayah. These champions are both really nuts on this patch. But again, we go bot, we get that turret because there's a free wave there, a free turret. And this might be a game that, yeah, this is actually, so this is a good example when I was talking about the build. This is a game where I went Bloodthirster third because they had so much burst damage and I'm so fed that I wanted to just make sure I didn't die. So most of the time you do go for Mortal, as I said, third. But because of just how fed they were, I end up going for it in this case. And there, the enemy do engage on us pretty hard, but you can see all the burst damage we were able to get back on them. Obviously a little hard if you get flashed on by a Gnar with his ultimate. However, we were able to cleanse and still live and everything. And because they did use a lot and they're kind of low, I was pretty happy to fight like this, so I didn't mind at all them engaging on me, because I just knew they didn't have enough strength. Nard didn't have Mega. The enemy were just generally low health. You can see that insane burst damage just from one auto attack on the Lucian, which leads to him dying, I believe, or maybe I'm able to get the final kill. Yeah, we end up getting the final kill when he gets out of the ultimate from Mordekaiser. Look at that burst damage again onto the Nard. 2 auto attacks, and this guy's really, really low. I do go for fleet footwork as well. I'm kind of all over the place with this commentary, but I do go for fleet footwork. You can see the double auto attack, I think, is really good for burst damage, so I recommend that as well over Conqueror. And then I just go for Gathering Storm, Giant Slayer, Alacrity, and Bone Plating. Generally, those runes are good. And then at this point, we're just trying to sneak the Baron. Another broken part about Corki is how fast he kills objectives. Like, look at this. Watch me melt through this objective. So we know that they have no vision on it. We know they're probably on the dragon. And so I decided to tell my team to go sneak this. And just look at this thing. This thing is dying so fast. And that's a majority of my damage. Like, that is Lee Sin and Lux a little bit too. But that's a majority of Corki damage right there that you're seeing on that objective. And at this point now, they're coming right into us. Super easy. Unfortunately, Lee Sin kicked them away, so I couldn't kill him. But you can still see that burst damage that my champion does. It's just absolutely insane. We end up getting the Vi there, and again, using the abilities between the auto attacks to get as much burst damage as possible. We end up killing the Braum there as well, and we're just able to nearly team wipe them. Aurora is on the side lane, just having the time of her life, as her entire team gets team wiped. And yeah, now at this point, just because we got the kills, push the mid wave, get the mid turret, get a second mid turret, and then get the heck out. Nothing too complicated there. I want to make sure I spend my gold on my Bloodthirster, because once I get Bloodthirster, it is really, really hard to die. I know I'm saying really, really a lot. I kind of do that for whatever reason. But either way, we use the Baron recall. We get Bloodthirster. Then we can grab, I think it's QSS this game because of all their CC. Once we get the Mortal Reminder, I mean, you're going to already see the burst damage here. Like, I'm extremely ahead. So obviously, in this game, my damage is going to be even more absurd than if we were even gold. But you will see, once you do get ahead, like, how this damage looks. Watch me just go on to the Braum here. Like, look at that. Like, that's on a Braum. It's like 2 auto attacks on a tanky champion. Now, I'm positioning pretty safe because of the fact that we are pretty ahead. So I didn't need to do anything crazy. And then as I say that, I flash forward into multiple people. But at that point, I knew my team was kind of with me. I knew we were fine. And we were able to burst down that Braum afterwards. But I was trying to be patient, not position too aggressively due to the fact that I am... you know, I was very strong. And also look at the, okay, look at this Aurora. Aurora shows up out of nowhere. I don't know why, but look at her health bar. This is 2 auto attacks. So like, look at, I didn't even see she here, but look, like, this is like 40% of squishy champion and just like instantly dies. I missed my ultimate too, so I only hit auto attacks. So 5 auto attacks would 100 to 0 her. 2 auto attacks, 40 to 0. Like, this damage is not balanced at all. And my champion is just not balanced. I don't know why Aurora was there. Maybe she was recalling. Otherwise, I don't know why she was there. But she was there. Another broken thing, because there are a lot of broken things. You do true damage to turrets. So like your true damage, I'm pretty sure it works on turrets. I'm like 99% sure. Maybe I'm telling you a lie, because sometimes lying on the internet is fun. You know, who doesn't like doing that occasionally? But pretty sure I'm not lying to you. Again, absurd burst damage onto the Gnar. Use our abilities in between, and we will melt everyone for free. 4 item now. Again, you're going to see this absurd burst damage. But again, basically, Corki, strong early game, insanely broken late game. Absurd burst damage as long as you weave in autos, you know, in between abilities. Good self-peel with the second ability. Look at that damage. Oh my god, where did he even go? I didn't even see a Lucian there. Oh my god, where's the Gnar? He's 1 HP. He ran off because he gargoyled. True damage to turrets. True damage to champions, so it's hard to itemize against him. Pretty much does everything that you could want from a champion. Really not much more to say other than that. And because of that, you see us winning the game pretty easily here and doing that very frequently. Again, insane win rate, 75.7 on ADC right now with a 43 mark GM. Kind of absurd. I don't remember what this game got me. I guess we'll see in a second how many marks this game got me. But yeah, just wanted to make this video showing you guys how broken this champion is even after the patch. Nothing's really changed. Wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.